The Borgias ruled high society in Renaissance Italy, but their private lives were as down and dirty as they come. The Borgias we think of today are the children of Rodrigo Borgia and his mistress Venanza. Their son Cesare and daughter Lucrezia are the most infamous of the Borgias, but they also had two other sons, Giovanni and Geoffrey. Now, the fact that Rodrigo even had sons with Venanza is quite scandalous, because he actually became the Pope. And he obviously didn't raise those kids right. Cesare was extremely good looking. In fact, legend has it that Western images of Jesus were based on his face. But don't let his looks fool you. He was utterly ruthless, so much so that Niccolo Machiavelli's notorious work The Prince was reportedly based on Cesare. Cesare was known to use poison, hired men, and anything else he could to climb his way to the top. There's even a theory he had his brother Giovanni killed, a crime that his father, again, the Pope, had covered up. He had scads of illegitimate children and was a breathtakingly seasoned partier. His Banquet of the Chestnuts in 1501 was a legendary bacchanal, and he staged it in the heart of the Vatican. His father, the Pope, reportedly took enthusiastic part in the night's carnal pleasures. Still, Cesare's carousing eventually caught up with him. At the end of his life, people said syphilis destroyed his face, leading him to wear a leather half mask at all times to hide the damage. But Cesare's sister Lucrezia was not about to let her brother have all the fun. Intelligent and cunning, she'd be just as cruel as Cesare, and history has painted her as a poison-happy harpy. The truth is actually worse than that. Like her brother, she was famously good-looking, and had a natural grace that made her seem to reportedly walk on air. But this also meant she was a huge bargaining chip in her social climbing family, and they married her off 3 times in strategic alliances. These marriages were not only disastrous, they also show the full depth of the Borgia depravity. Lucrezia's first husband, who she married at 13, was Giovanni Sforza. Except when Giovanni outlived his political usefulness, Lucrezia's brother Cesare reportedly tried to have him killed. When that didn't work, the Borgias forced him to get an annulment and sign a contract claiming he was impotent. Lucrezia's second husband, Alfonso of Aragon, somehow fared even worse. After he lost political clout, he was successfully murdered, likely by, you guessed it, his brother-in-law Cesare Borgia. Thankfully, Lucrezia's third marriage to the Duke of Ferrara stood the test of time, though that was probably because the Duke never lost political power. Nonetheless, a dark rumor still follows Lucrezia around. For centuries, there have been rumors that Lucrezia and her brother Cesare were involved in a passionate affair with each other. Now, many of these claims come from their enemies, and it's probably not true. But it would explain why Cesare tried to kill so many of Lucrezia's husbands.